What's up, everybody? It's Corey, host of the Grease Pole Podcast, back with another special edition of our mock draft series that we've been doing to kind of prepare for April 27th and draft weekend that's coming up here in a matter of days at this point. So this one's on you guys, Eagles fans. What we did here for this one was kind of put out options for each of the Eagles draft picks and had you guys vote on who you thought should have been the pick based off the we gave four options, 2 offense and 2 defense for each pick. And before we get into the results of that, make sure you click the link above. That'll take you to our NFL draft playlist with previous mock drafts, and our official final Eagles mock draft is going to be coming within a day or so in advance of the 27th, before the Carolina Panthers get put on the clock at 8 o'clock on the night of the 27th. So let's get to it. Let's see who you have the Birds taking, what your choices were for this particular mock draft, which is our 6.0, and put the Birds on the clock with the 10th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, where the Philadelphia Eagles select Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. And Bijan Robinson here was up against Lucas Van Ness, edge rusher out of Iowa, Nolan Smith, edge rusher out of Georgia, and Peter Skoronski, offensive lineman out of Northwestern. And it was Bijan who ran away with 55% of the vote. Lucas Van Ness and Nolan Smith came in tied second and third, and Peter Skoronski bringing up the rear with only 9%. And this is kind of the popular pick amongst Eagles fans, right? Remember the last time that Eagles Nation, Eagles fans wanted a running back out of Texas, right? How'd that work out? You know, where you had Ricky Williams and it ended up being Donovan McNabb, and everybody lost their fucking minds, right? So, look, Rashad Penny was just brought in, okay? And you still have Kenny Gainwell, Mr. Third Down, Boston Scott, Baby Yoda. Bijan can do everything, okay? It's a joy to watch this dude break tackles, but taking him goes against Howie's track record, okay? And I understand that now it's out that McCaffrey would have been the pick in 2017 with the 14th pick, and then ended up being Derek Barnett. But this is a top 10 pick, and you have to keep in mind that the trenches, offensive and defensive line, have been kind of depleted depth-wise a little bit. But I will say this, your win now window is open, right? You're just coming off of a depressing, super close Super Bowl loss. So this pick would undoubtedly add an entirely different dimension to this offense. It would make it dangerous. Nobody in the league would want to see this offense if you add Bijan Robinson to it. So I understand the pick, and part of me would love to see it happen. I just don't think it ultimately does. But that's the pick according to you Eagles fans, the voters. Moving on to the 30th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, where the Philadelphia Eagles select, I always say I'm going to learn how to pronounce this name, and then I get stage fright. The defensive lineman out of Northwestern, Adetomiwa Idibawore. Apologies if that was pronounced wrong. I did this on Frank's podcast, too, last week, where I got stage fright and completely shit this guy's name wrong. So apologies to him. He received 40% of the vote over Osiris Torrance, guard out of Florida, Will McDonald, the 4th edge rusher out of Iowa State, and Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver out of Tennessee. I expect more than likely to trade out of this pick, Howie does, possibly for Budda Baker. But, you know, Tony Pauline put the reports out there that Howie reportedly loves him. He's got that inside-outside versatility. He can be an edge. He can be a 3 technique. Had a killer combine, and you know how Howie values traits over production. So you add to a strength with this pick while injecting some more youth for the long term along that defensive line. Second round, with the 62nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Keanu Benton, defensive tackle out of Wisconsin. And Keanu Benton got 60% of the vote over Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, Zach Charbonnet, running back out of UCLA, and Antonio Johnson, safety out of Texas A&M. Benton's a 4-year starter who came on strong to close out the 2022 season. He's an all-around defensive tackle, but he can collapse that pocket on a pass rush. He has brute strength with heavy hands and a nice punch to go with it. You add Benton along with Idibawore to go with Jordan Davis. And don't forget about Milton Williams as well on this interior defensive line. That would just be gross, right? And again, Adibawari, keep in mind, you can line him out on the edge as well. So he's kind of that Swiss Army knife. And then you add Benton. That makes this strength, the defensive line of this defense, that much more formidable. And losing a guy like Javon Hargrave doesn't have that much of an impact if this is the way that Howie Roseman chooses to replenish. Third round, with the 94th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Nick Herbig, linebacker out of Wisconsin. And the initial vote actually, so first of all, he beat J.L. Skinner, safety out of Boise State, Rashee Rice, wide receiver out of SMU, a Philly guy, and Braden Daniels, guard out of Utah. It ended up being a tiebreaker, Nick Herbig and J.L. Skinner. So we had to do a tiebreaker for that one, where Herbig just beat the shit out of J.L. Skinner, 88% to 12. So he ends up being the pick, and he's the former he's a brother to the former Eagles offensive lineman Nate Herbig, right? We remember him. And you love Nick's game. He makes a habit of getting comfortable being in the opponent's backfield. He's very good pre-snap. He's an instinctive player, an excellent athlete. And when you have TJ Edwards and Kazir White that both left via free agency, this is some much-needed depth and competition at that off-ball linebacker position. Let's move to the 7th round. And again, no trades in this one. We're staying put with the picks the Eagles have right now, which is, I guess you could say, is inaccurate because you know how he's going to wheel and deal. But 7th round with the 219th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Juice Scruggs, offensive lineman out of Penn State. And Scruggs got the vote over Robert Beal Jr., edge rusher out of Georgia, Khalif Halassi, cornerback out of Western Kentucky, and Dontavian Wicks, wide receiver out of Virginia. Scruggs, by the way, with 38% of the vote to get him the choice here. A 2-year starter and a team captain at Penn State. He comes with that center and guard versatility. He has good fundamentals, keeps defenders in front of him with a nice punch, and keeps that wide base. He always has his head on a swivel. He's looking for action. He's not going to stand around and wait for the action to come to him. Again, that offensive line depth has been depleted, so Scruggs is a big step towards kind of replenishing that depth chart that you lost some of the depth to in free agency. Moving on later in the 7th round with the 248th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select D. Winters, linebacker out of TCU, who also received 38% of the vote over Xavier Valade, running back out of Arizona State, Lonnie Phelps, edge rusher out of Kansas, and Sean Clifford, quarterback out of Penn State. And Winters also has that inside-outside versatility. He's good at reading the play, reading the action in front of him. He's a sure tackler that's got good closing speed. And again, much like Herbig, more depth for that linebacking core where it's pretty bare bones as you enter the draft. So there you have it, folks. Those are your picks, actually yours, for the Birds in the 2023 NFL Draft. And I'd like to thank everyone that participated in the voting process. It was fun, and definitely look forward to doing this every year going forward, as we're officially 2 days away from the NFL Draft as we record this video. But we've got plenty of content left coming your way between now and 8 p.m. on the 27th, when the Carolina Panthers are on the clock to kick off night 1 of the 2023 NFL Draft. So if the draft is your cocaine too, like it is mine, whether you're an Eagles fan or not, we'd love to have you. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all things draft related and to get our thoughts and opinions on everything that transpires on draft weekend. We'll see you next time. As always, go Birds.